Is there one area of your life that you can change and as a result get total change across all areas of your life? Yes, there is. It's called pranayama. Pranayama is the art of breathing. There's lots of science behind it. And in this episode of the Energy Healing Podcast, we're going to explore 13 different ways pranayama benefits you, your physical body, your mental body. You're watching the Energy Healing Podcast. If you watch a baby breathe, you'll watch that they breathe with their belly. The belly goes up and down as they breathe. It's natural. It's rhythmic. On the other hand, if you look at somebody who is scared, who's having an anxiety attack, a panic attack, you will see that their breathing is out of control. Their body is flushed, their head's flushed, they're going red and maybe even blue because they haven't got enough oxygen. Pranayama is the art, the science, the practice of controlling your breath. So prana is life force, it's energy, and yama means to control. So it's really the regulation of your life force or your energy force. During this episode of the Energy Healing Podcast, we are going to explore 13 ways that if you use pranayama, then it will totally change your health condition. And by the way, my name is Haroon Rabbani. I am an energy healer. I'm also a master trainer to other energy healers. Number 1, pranayama improves the strength of your lungs. Your lungs are obviously the absolutely most important part of your organs that allow oxygen to come in and, very important, carbon dioxide to leave. So as a result of deep pranayama breathing, then you end up strengthening your lungs. And this is very important, especially if you're suffering from lung-related diseases. In terms of energy medicine, they're also related, associated with sadness and grief. So if you're holding on to sadness, you're holding on to grief, then the lungs are the areas that suffer. And if you develop strong, healthy lungs, then you're going to be able to manage your sadness, manage your grief far better. The lungs also in Chinese medicine is considered a metal element organ, which means that it's all about releasing, it's all about letting go. And of course, what do? We breathe in, but it's very important to also breathe out, let go of those toxins. Number 2, pranayama is a wonderful way to relieve yourself of stress. We get stressed, and as we stress, before we get into anxiety and panic mode, we start breathing incorrectly. And so no matter how bad the stress is, pranayama helps to relieve you of the pain and suffering that will happen had you not done anything about it. So pranayama is great for stress. Number 3, pranayama helps improve concentration and focus. When your breathing is out of control, your mind wanders very easily. Don't we see that all the time in modern day society? We have everyone on the phone. I mean, just think about it. You're on the phone looking down. Already you're collapsing your lungs. When you're on your mobile phone, your smart device or computer, you're collapsing your lungs. So it's less easy to concentrate. And if you're somebody who needs to work and be very focused in your job and you're computer based, then pranayama breathing helps counterbalance all the damage you would have done by not breathing correctly. So doing pranayama breathing intermittently at work, every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, every hour at least, and you don't have to do it for long, it puts you back into a much better state of focus and concentration. Now your body is taking in so much pollution through the air that you breathe, the food that you eat, the drinks, and all the toxins that are available to us in modern day society. And so pranayama, when you do proper deep pranayama breathing, then it also helps detoxify your organs. Your skin is a detoxification organ. So if you're somebody who is not breathing correctly, you'll find there's a lack of glow in your skin. And so by doing deep pranayama breathing, and by the way, there's many techniques, not just one, by doing deep pranayama breathing, then you start detoxifying your organs and even your skin starts to glow. Pranayama breathing involves breathing in through the nose. You can breathe in through the mouth as well, but generally in through the nose. And what it does is it clears up your sinus passages, your nasal passages. If you're somebody who suffers from sinus congestion, nasal congestion, then pranayama is useful for you to improve your breathing as well as clear your passages. If you're breathing correctly, if your organs are in a good state of harmony and balance, in a good state of homeostasis, it means you improve your sleep. You have a better night's sleep. So one of the best things you can do at nighttime is do some pranayama breathing followed by meditation. this will improve your sleep. Of course, if you're looking after your breath, then what are you going to do? You're going to boost your immune system. Your immune system is very important to fight off all the foreign bodies and invaders coming into your body, into your energy body, your physical body. And pranayama breathing boosts your immune system. I used to work in medical sales, and one of the big areas I covered for the first 4 or 5 years of my life is endoscopy, which is all to do with the GI tract. Looking at the research and looking at my own observation that about 80% of diseases is directly to do with your digestion and what kind of food you're eating and so on. Pranayama allows you to oxygenate all the vital organs. So we're not just talking about your stomach, we're talking about the intestines, the liver, the kidneys, the pancreas. It oxygenates all those areas so that they can perform far more better, and so it improves your digestion, and of course as a result it helps you to detoxify your body far more easily. With certain pranayama techniques you actually raise your metabolism. You start activating your metabolism, which means you start burning fat, you start burning food through. So actually pranayama has been known to help people in either maintaining their weight or even losing their weight. And of course, pranayama alone will not get rid of your weight issues if you have any. Combine that with correct diet and exercise and so on. With certain pranayama practices, it will certainly raise your metabolic rate, which means you burn through the calories a lot more effectively and efficiently. Over 10 years ago, I was massively into the research of cancer, what causes cancer, and what you can do about curing or healing or dealing with cancer. And I found many issues that were related to cancer. One of the biggest issues you need to be aware of, for a cell to become cancerous, it needs to carry out a process called fermentation in order to release energy. Fermentation takes place in anaerobic conditions. That means conditions where there are no oxygen available. Doesn't it make sense to you that if all your cells are oxygenated and cancer can only exist in anaerobic conditions, in other words conditions without oxygen, then if you're pumping oxygen through because you're breathing correctly, because you're practicing the breathwork regularly, then that area is less prone to cancer and many other health conditions related to anaerobic conditions. So pranayama is brilliant for disease prevention, particularly the chronic type. I'm sure you are aware we have the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain. When you breathe in through one nostril, so if you breathe in through the left nostril predominantly, your right brain gets more activated, and if you're predominantly breathing in through your right nostril, then your left brain gets activated. This is very interesting when I found this out, because I started my sports life really in martial arts at the age of 14, and in my training at some point I got my nose broken twice, and so my left nasal passageway opened up more and my right one closed down more. Guess what I found? I discovered that whilst before that I was very logical, rational and so on, and not very creative. Now try stopping me from being creative. So my right hemisphere, which is related to creativity, emotional intelligence, all of that just went through the roof. And so pranayama, what it does is it helps bring balance to both sides of the brain. So you don't want to be totally right-brained and you don't want to be totally left-brained, because then you're using only half of your brain, right? You want balance. So pranayama helps you. If you're primarily right-brained, it'll help activate your logical, rational, critical thinking side. And if you're highly logical, rational, critical and not very emotive or not very creative, then pranayama will activate the right hemisphere. So you need balance between both. We have those two sides because they're there to be used. In previous videos I've mentioned about the sympathetic nervous system, which is primarily to do with emergency situations, fight or flight, and also to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also more like your braking system to be able to relax your body, calm your body down. And so we need a balance between the two. Primarily, most people are in fight or flight. The sympathetic nervous system is shot to pieces. The organs are shot to pieces, particularly the kidneys and the liver. And so doing alternate nostril breathing, which is one of the pranayama techniques, it brings balance between the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, which means you have a much more balanced organs. which then means that you think a lot more better, a lot more clearly. It means you make better decisions. It means that you don't fall ill. Your organs don't have to be replaced because you've just shot it to pieces. And that's it. If you'd like to find out the scientific reasons behind why everything that I mentioned is true, then go to the description and the links are there with all the scientific papers related to them. If you'd like to practice pranayama, you can do one of two things. Go to a yoga teacher who specializes in pranayama, so either authentic yoga or kundalini yoga, which are absolutely brilliant at that. And if you want to practice pranayama with me and my team, then join my webinar. Link is there in the description, and I hope to see you on the next Energy Healing Podcast.